of, thank you, Carrie, of these two essential truths. It is, in fact, the Bodhisattva path. So I want to begin there. So you are already on it, you are already doing it, and then all these ideas that we're going to talk about are just element to try to capture some deeper understanding. I do not teach from the two truths directly often for this reason, because now we immediately go up into some kind of conceptual, is this relative or is this ultimate? Is this thing or is, and actually, what did I say to begin? There is no way to understand it from there. And so we're going to be lighthearted at the least around what our heads get about these two truths. So we're going to begin there. As I read the chapter, I was like, this is not the best reflection of what I understand to be the two truths. And then I remembered the Bodhisattva path. And so I want to begin there. We're not going to talk long. We're not going to go into discussion first. We're going to go into practice first. Only through practice and a way of being do I believe the two truths ultimately come together. Only. So all the words we're going to add later, you're going to go, blah, I don't know, and I don't care. And actually, I don't mind, because all of that thinking will yet not give you the truth of the path. But let's start here. You've heard me talk about the Bodhisattva path, the path of integrating, exchanging, let's begin here, one's self for and with the other. Now, by the way, this is the beautiful integration of relative and ultimate realities. I'm just going to stop here for a minute and ask, why do you think? The Bodhisattva path itself, I believe, well, no, I know, it's not a thought. I know is the beautiful culmination of these two deep teachings and understandings. And so then what might be true about the Bodhisattva path that might bring these two things, relative truth, or that which is by appearance, and then I'll say one little more for a clue. By appearance, what? Separate. By appearance, solid. By appearance, what? Fill in the blank. Throw some words out. By appearance, disconnected, Libby said. By appearance, what else? It's all a myth. It's a delusion. Put some words out. Come on and say hello. Here's a word. Let's see what it is. We appear separate. We are actually not exactly correct. What else? By appearance, relative truth appears
in our minds.
Yeah, some idea. Carrie's saying some concept. I'm going to give an example in a minute, and you'll all laugh like crazy because I'm working on this. Is one of my true relative appearance works, pieces of work. What else? It appears.
Lost and found.
What does that mean, Dennis?
Well, sometimes you just feel completely lost, and then other times, oh, wow, I found it. So it's like, well.
And actually, what we think we found is often solid, is what I'll say the truths would say. We mistake either as substantial, as real, as occurring. Good. I'm going to go all the way out there for you. Lost and found is a myth, says the two teachings. There is neither a lost nor a found. This, I want to confound it for you a little bit on purpose. So they're really, the idea of lost and found, we'll just stay with that. Thank you, Dennis. Right or wrong, left or right. How about that?
Good or bad.
Good or bad are by appearance only. What is it based on? Why are they all myth? delusion,
Judgment.
the frame of ignorance. Why is it all not accurate? All distinctions dissolve in what, Margie? They dissolve in the field, we could say, maybe, of awareness. So left and right requires what? Let's just talk about that for a minute, and then we're going to get to the practice, because it'll help you. Left and right requires what?
Perception and judgment.
A judgment, yes, based on what? Wherever you're standing, whichever direction you're going, whatever you're making. So left is based completely on my perception of me as the solid center, doesn't it? Do you get what I'm saying? There is no left until I go, I am in the right place. I am valid. I remember this ever-changing field of I, which we already know, no such person, no such thing. We establish that center, and then we have a left and a right. Well, Libby's sitting over there. Guess what she's going to argue with me about? She's facing me. She's going left. That's not left. We just had this discussion. She went, I don't think that's where that was. I think it was over there. I went, not exactly, was kind of in between the, right? And by the way, neither of us, it's not an either or, and both, says the teaching. We both had aspects of a reality greater than perception. We both went out beyond perception. Oh, right. It was that, and right, which is the intermingling, interconnectedness, interfield, interwave of everything. And so the perceived you over there and the perceived me over here is the delusion. Why? And then we're going to practice. We'll leave it.
Doesn't this kind of fall into the conversation of dualism and non-dualism on a kind of a broader level?
Yes, exactly, Chris. In fact, we would say all appearance is dual, and all reality is non-dual.
Right.
Why? Because we can't eliminate the seer, the thinker, the ponderer. But by the way, you don't have to. So that we don't have to imagine, as it was mistaken in a time that we had to kind of kill the self off to get to this more non-dual understanding. It is not accurate. It is not true. And we, in fact, are capable of going, I actually know, but I get hooked. I get hooked in it. But actually then, if we understood that all things connected to all things throughout all time, we would laugh, says the masters, at everything. Then you'd laugh, literally, at everything. Because you, once again, are imagining, if only I had gone left, this wouldn't be here. This is laughable. If only I had said it right, we'd still be married. This is laughable. If only, right, as if we are the center of the universe. And it's in fact exactly how in relative world we see ourselves. And Courtney's laughing. Look at Courtney over there going, that's crazy. It's crazy. In fact, it's the biggest crazy. And we all buy in. I'm going to give you an example of the crazy from my own life, because we're all crazy in this regard. My husband has a garage. This garage is not my husband's. In fact, it is not my husband's garage. It is a series of moments and events and undoings and doings, and right. And I have handed that garage solely. I've taken this part of the house and this is your disaster. This is your mess. This is you, which even takes it to a dangerous other place. And then I spend most of my day going, how am I going to fix that? Because it's crazy. There's things you can't get to a thing, right? The truth is, this is actually not a problem. I am not actually at my heart confused. And in my relative world, it makes my life complicated because I need my saber saw and I can't get to it. Is this a problem? No. No. Did I make it a big problem? Oh boy. Oh boy. I spent a lot of my evenings in confession going, okay. And then I thought, if only he were gone, the garage would be clean, and then I could have an easier life, right? If only he could get it together, then. Now I actually, at my deepest level, I actually know this isn't true, and I get caught in it about every single day. Now, by the way, in the middle of it, I get caught, and then I go say things like, this is insane. Now, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about everybody. Because it isn't just his problem. I've actually made it my problem, and then I've made it him separate from me in the problem. And then we can see, can't we, that whatever the bodhisattva path of the integration will not look like me complaining silently or under my breath or to anyone who will listen about that garage. Also, it does not mean that this is skillful. We don't want to mistake that either. We don't, right? This would be wrong, but neither is it the problem. And so then where are we? Well, we can't just land somewhere now, right? If it's not a problem and yet not particularly skillful, there's a lot of tendrils in here. How would we work, right? And then what the teaching says is whatever good could come, whatever good could come would come from that. And it's true. Whatever good will come will not come from my or I'm just throwing shit in there and I'm just going to keep throwing shit in there till it can't take one more piece. Neither. And now we have these perceived senses of separation and now a conflict territory. And right, none of this is necessary. And in fact, we could say, will not be of benefit.
So there's no cause and effect, there's just acceptance and surrender?
No, there is solid cause and effect. In fact, the deeper you understand cause and effect, the more you will accept and surrender. They are not separate. The more you accept that garage, we'll just stay with a fun example, is infinitely connected to things, including me. Not separate from me, including me.
She has to remember that the you is not the only thing that causes things to.
You are, yeah, Libby wants to remind you that you are not the cause. You yourself are one tendril factor, Felicia. Libby heard that and didn't want you to think that you are the cause of the difficulty. Neither are you separate from it, says the teaching. Neither are you separate. Neither am I separate from that garage being a problem. Because my
It's in the mind.
are contributing. Does that mean acceptance? That's tricky because the answer would be yes, meaning accepting that the situation in its totality by appearance is a way, and then also recognizing if I separate from it, this would be where the middle way is key. If I separate myself from that garage, if I separate myself from Trump, if I separate myself from MAGA, there will be no path. There will be no solution. There will be no end to suffering. And it's true. As long as I'm going, God damn it, can't you just put your stuff in a bin? There is no path. And then we are only in appearance separate. We are now in appearance in conflict. We are now in appearance, which would diminish the truth of a 50-year relationship.
So what is the answer with it? What
That's the
is the
problem.
middle way is the
That's the problem, Courtney.
solution, but is there what is it you just open to what it is? You try to support to
If I understood, if I didn't separate myself from Al, that guy over there who's OCD, got to keep everything guy, because by appearance, if I didn't separate from that, what I could tell you is that this would have been resolved. Now, I don't mean the garage gets cleaned because I don't know about that. Right? I don't know. I don't know if one thing changes from there. I'm not certain. I do believe the possibility would be larger also if I didn't separate myself from what a mess. I can't believe it. You're over there. I do know that whatever the path would be wider, deeper, more spacious and infinite than if you just clean up your stuff, we'd be better. Which I am very sure is not the way. It is not. I've been trying that for 50 years. It has not gone well. Now, by the way, do I know that that's me? I'm actually certain. Does it mean there aren't other causes? Speaking to Felicia's, my husband's history, but remember, this is small potatoes, says these teachings. The Madhyamaka teachings say you don't see anything. You're seeing a dot on a very large screen. Well, we could call that screen all time, throughout all space, all. And then you're making a thing out of the dot that in fact is not a thing. Does it mean you don't address it? I'm not saying that. Does that mean you don't continue or contribute? I'm not saying that. In fact, on the Bodhisattva path, the concept of continuation is required. You don't quit. You don't just go, well, I guess it's that way, do you? Because if there were suffering, in the truth of suffering. Now, by the way, the suffering, I'm not defining the suffering as me and my complaint about the garage. I'm not defining that as the suffering. The suffering is in the separation. The suffering is in the you versus meing. The suffering, this is where all the suffering is. It is not in the opinion where we all land and then we look for an answer for our distress. Don't we? We do. We go, how am I going to fix this? And really, the bottom line is for me. Don't we? How am I going to fix this for me? I have not once thought, I'm not joking, how am I going to fix this for him? That hit 50 years. 5-0. 5-0. Not one time did I think, how am I going to fix this for him? In fact, I tried, but I actually fixed it for me. I had the garage redone. That was not for him. In fact, when he saw it, he was like, what? Who? What do you mean? Father's Day gift. For who? For you. That's where that came from. And I took a picture of it just to frame it as a Father's Day gift. I got a big sign that said Happy Father's Day to you. Now, my understanding of this does not mean I get it right. It doesn't mean I get it right, but then I have to be careful about that, don't I? I even have to be careful about what's the right in it, right? I have to be careful. So what's the answer is part of our relative truth problem. We're going, I want to fix this so that I can be okay. Well, there's nothing out there. There is no garage, I promise you, that's going to make this in me okay. This separation, this solidifying, this fixating, this righteousness making, this is not going to be undone by any garage, is it? Ever. And so do we just accept? Well, I don't think so. I think we practice, don't we? Then we commit ourselves more wholeheartedly. I feel it now, like you just better keep sitting with this. You just better keep opening with this because right? This is my beautiful example of a place I am solidly hooked. Now that I know I'm hooked is a little something, counts for a little something. That I will get a little less hooked today, probably, from just this conversation is probably also true. So, where's the answer? In the depth of understanding. That's where it is. And I don't think it's either. I don't think there's any quick fixes. And I don't think there's, if I could only just let go of all the things I'm holding on to, the teachings say it is true. And the practice of that is very, very difficult. And it isn't letting go of your boat, your car. That's just the beginning. It's letting go of this idea of me being right, good, deserving, um, uh, and all of our struggle then comes from running into it, right? Because life is not going, because you're special, we will not give you this garage at all, is it? In fact, uh, quite the opposite. And then we go, wait a minute, I've worked hard, I've done it right, I've committed myself, I'm very generous, I try to do good things, and yet this thing called my problem is right here for me. Well, that's right there for you because of you. Because of you, actually. And I don't mean in a solid making. Your perceptions, you're going, this, I don't like this, I don't want this. It doesn't mean that we allow, Felicia. It doesn't mean that we just allow everything. We don't. If you see someone who's hungry, you feed them, don't you? You don't just go, well, in acceptance of all things, because that's the nihilistic ultimate frame. This is a very big mistake to go, well, if all things are perfect already, I can hear Mike Shook in my head, then there's nothing to do. Yes, in the ultimate, and no, in the relative, you feed them.
That's where my question was. I just couldn't figure that
It's
connection.
very difficult to figure. It's impossible. So we're not going to try to figure it. Let's practice. This is the evidence. Because this is deep teachings. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Let me unplug that. Can everybody hear me okay? Just want to make sure I didn't do something on this side. So let's get ready to practice. I'm going to see if I can't access something that I want. So finding our comfortable, secure. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't know what that really means. I do know I'm tilted, so I'm going to see if I can't straighten that off. So then we just rest. And in the resting, we don't first, in these Madhyamaka teachings, the middle path, the middle way, we don't rest, unlike in the beginning schools, in the body. Because it says, oops, self-making, self-grabbing, self-firming. And so we rest in open space. Now you can rest in open space with eyes open or closed, because there is as much open space with the eye door closed. I just like looking at space for a minute. And even in that sense of open space, there is the perception of solidity, which is just fine. And that is in things like the feet in contact with the floor. We're going to use that. In the sense of weightedness of the body into the seat. The placement or contact of the hands in what appears to be each other or the solidness of the lap. But for now, we're just going to let the body rest softly with each out breath. And then when you're ready, you can let the eyes close if that's your practice. With this slow, natural breath, we finally allow the body to fully arrive. And remember, there's only the arriving. There is no arrival. It's a continuous process. We begin simply being here in this very relative appearing world. And so you may notice as we begin the breath. And the breath itself has an appearance of solidity, of continuity. We can name the breath as a noun, a thing. We might also notice by appearance that felt sense of weight or contact with the seat. That's feeling pretty solid. The movement of the breath in and out of the body. And we even use words like in and out. Not quite accurate. We might even notice something that feels solid that is not even graspable, something like temperature. And we all have ideas about it, cool or warm, in or out, weighted or light. And this is a necessary reality for our functional day-to-day lives. They are not problems. They are not problems. They are just descriptors for navigating with 8 billion people. So we don't have to get rid of them. This is simply, however, the dimension of appearance. Appearing here and there, left and right, cool or warm. This is the appearance of life arising through the sense doors in what we might call everyday mind. And nothing to get rid of. Ordinary mind. It is not wrong. It is simply how these eye doors, ear doors, mind, and world interact. This is how life, me, the clock tick appear right now. And I want you to remember the phrase, this is how it, life, appears right now. I appear to be alive because I am breathing. And there is a second truth. This takes us from the relative closer to the absolute or ultimate reality. What is it? We are all dying right now. And can you hold both? And then we tend to anchor the experiences for the relative understanding, for example, to the breath. We see the in-breath often as life, inspiring, invoking life. And we use the out-breath as the expiry, the undoing, the unbecoming, untethered, unknotted, unbound. And interestingly, it makes me chuckle, we call that death, when in fact what is happening is we are becoming unhooked. Unhooked from our small, limited, solid, permanent sense of self that was never who we were. And so we rest on purpose in the unhooking, in the dissolving. So that we can see, know, feel, sense who we really are. Beyond the eye, beyond the body, beyond the name, beyond the opinion, beyond the breath, beyond even conceptual knowing. Rests within that sense. Awareness itself, it's often said. Seeing awareness, knowing awareness. This is the beginning of opening towards this ultimate truth. Now remember, we're not getting rid of the sense doors. We're recognizing that these are not only mine. And see which sense door you can solidify. See if it's possible. Can you keep seeing what you're seeing? Hearing what you're hearing? Feeling what you're feeling? And you notice there is nothing to grasp. Ever changing, both you, the hearer, and the sound. Interacting, interbeing, dependent on each other. Where is the you? Where is the sound? And we don't try to answer that. It's an inquiry. There is no one breath, there is no one thought. And in fact, most of what we can make contact with is very small, very small. A dip into what is arising and passing. And so we rest in the open field, recognizing the open field of our own being. And then the invitation is, where do we make the problem? Well, we make the problem with the pronoun, as we said the other day. We cultivate some delusion sense of I, me, or mine. Remember, it is interactive, interbeing, interdependent. There is no you separate from anything, actually. We're not thinking. We're just seeing if we could imagine this field of infinite light twinkles, I guess, energy, field, a wave. It's all best understood in these metaphors. They are limited as well. Interacting with the infinite field all around us. And then I'd like you, just for fun, to take one of your problems, the way you feel, the way you think, an opinion you have, something you think is not right, is often a nice place to put that. So not right. And see if you can't interact with it as a non-solid, non-stuck, all infinite possibility interaction with the other, the thing you perceive as other, is better said. Also an interacting, ever-changing, arising and passing, infinitely capable field. And then you notice things arising and passing, thoughts about it coming and going, perceptions of reality, often with thoughts like this is really is this way. The arguing mind, it really is solid. It really is who they are. It really is a difficulty. It doesn't mean it's not going to be deserving of a response. Remember, we feed the hungry. We care for the ill. And that is in that perfect interactive exchange. And so see if you can catch any points where you get stuck. And the stuck, I think, often comes as a thought, sometimes with a corresponding body gripped, contracted body experience. And we already know that in contraction, you can see nothing clearly. Nothing. And so we try to rest back in the open field of being. Sometimes, again, called awareness itself, without the this way or that way. If they would do this, then I could do that. If they would have only said, done, been, this would be workable for me. Remember, there is no problem. The problem is in the contraction and the separation. And then I like to ask this question of myself, and I frequently do not have an answer. I just have the felt sense of opening, which is enough, which is what would love do? What would love be? Can I make contact with it? It invites an opening. And then it invites, I think, a response rather than a reaction. And if we are in contraction, knowing the contraction is also beautiful. We don't reject it, we don't push it away. We can begin then here in our own vulnerability, in our own fear, in our own confusion, despair, or doubt. And don't make it solid. It is also a point of interaction. Resting in the vast open field, we can begin to form a right relationship without being drowned. As my teacher said, seeing it from the 60th floor, with a lot of space and a lot of room, and a lot of non-identifying, and a lot of non-assigning identity. And remember, it may not give you the answer. It is forming right relationship so that whatever we then think, say, and do becomes more skillful and of greater benefit. And it's certain. I don't know if it cleans the garage, and I'm not sure that's the answer anyway. See if you can move beyond any thinking. Do this, do that. And see if you can't do a little bit more of just feeling the opening. And then we could invite the inquiry. What would I, this perceived field of I, what could I invite or open to that could make whatever the it is not a problem? Changing nothing about whatever is perceived, it or other. Nothing's changing. What could you do? What could you open to that could allow the right relationship in these interactive fields? And I'm sticking with my garage example. And I thought if all of my closets were empty, I would perceive the garage differently. If my closets were empty, I wouldn't be looking for space somewhere else. And I'm not seeing this in any way, by the way, as just an issue with the garage. I'm seeing it as an instruction opportunity for my life. The more empty, and that doesn't mean no thing, remember, but non-solid, or the other side of it could be something like interconnected, interbeing. We are, the less problems we have. It is certain and true. The less me making, my making, mine making, which is all delusion, less problem. And then more, in fact, we could say infinite possibilities arising. When we can perceive reality without distortion of separation, disconnect, mine or yours, this or that, this is the authentic experience of ultimate truth. We rest then in the reality of both relative and ultimate truth, and will and can act, think, speak in our everyday lives more skillfully, more lovingly, with greater benefit. Remember, we don't remove any of the perceptions. We recognize them simply as appearance. You don't get rid of them. It's how we function in our world. And can we continue to open beyond appearance? To the lack of solidity, meing, youing, in everything. Can we use a thought then as an appearance. And notice that you cannot claim the thought, you cannot solidify it. It simply is a quick arising, passing. This is the nature of emptiness in all things. You can't keep the thought. We're not going to struggle. There's no push or pull. Can we experience them together? Maybe not quite the right word, but it's good enough. Inseparable, maybe. Sound in its appearance, its perception, its dissolution, its disappearance. No division of mind from life. Appearances are never denied. Emptiness is never forced. Can you just recognize the contraction, the grasp, the cling, the grip, and recognize that you are in this moment unable to see clearly? And to be who we really are. Probably the bigger consequence. And before we end, just for a moment, recollecting the infinite qualities that are contributing to this field of awareness, this moment. Infinite qualities. Your own aspiration, ungraspable. This body and these sense doors coming and going, ungraspable. The breath itself, ungraspable. Your commitment, your discipline, your practice, ungraspable. No one thing, no one moment. The Sangha, ungraspable. Your own awakened heart mind. Infinite and ungraspable. And yet we can know something about it. And we then feel gratitude appreciation, connection, love, a spaciousness, opening, openness. Let the two truths hold one another gently. And know them as awareness itself. We could say loving presence itself. Feel spacious, gentle, open, and awake. And may this clarity accompany us into this week of Thanksgiving. May the love, the compassion, that felt sense, that opening guide us. May its wisdom deepen into this all-abiding love. And may this practice be of benefit. And may it continue until all beings everywhere, without exception, are happy and free and awake. And may it continue. So be it. Taking your time and just taking a moment, see if we can't expand the field then to include seeing. I've got my gardener out here putting a second coat on the patio. If you heard that, there's some sound there. You might have heard it and might not have heard it. And then, so then the inquiry is, how are we getting in our way? How are we getting in our way? This would be probably our deepest reflection today. We'll go over the chapter in its content next week, but I really wanted us to feel this more this week, because otherwise the chapter becomes impossible. How do we get in our way is the question. What did you notice?
For me, what I noticed is I'm having difficulty right now with someone that I work with. And all day yesterday and the day before, I kept thinking, this is the most horrible human being on the planet. I need to leave immediately. It's all her. And in this space, Um, I love that question. What would love do? Because what I saw is the frustration, the reactivity, the experience that I'm having with this person is all fear, and it is all just like the fear that I am having.
Yes.
And I am getting in my way by not opening and seeing that that is that my frustration, the contraction that I'm feeling with how she is acting is really my perception,
Yes.
and most likely my reactivity is
Your fear.
creating the reaction
Your
as
fear.
well.
Yeah.
So it was a, it's simple, I guess, but it has been something that I've been really struggling with for a couple of days now, and this really helped me to see that can I open to it, and even if the reactivity continues, I can just open to it and see that there's fear there, and so what can I do to be loving, compassionate, open to what the situation is, whether that be removing myself from the situation
Yes.
or providing something that can create more of a connection between the two of us.
Yeah, it's infinite possibilities now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you don't have to know anything, do you? You don't have to know how this will go. You know how you will go. You know what you can offer. And that understanding, that insight, that compassion for you in your fear, and then this coworker, colleague in hers will equal right result. And I have infinite confidence in it. And you're exactly right, Courtney. It doesn't mean you stay, and it doesn't mean you go, because you couldn't know yet. In fact, could you? Not really, because I have not yet applied the antidote to the fear with my non-fearing, loving, clear-seeing self, which is this is fear. Um, you know where we do this, I think, so well, uh, because we have to for survival, is with children, and sometimes with animals, not always. Right? We go, wait a minute, I just know that's this, it's not that. And so I can open lovingly. And then I have this amazing potential for response and interaction, and now an interbeing. It isn't me or you, it's how we are doing this dance most lovingly. By the way, it doesn't mean no boundary. It doesn't. This is again, these black and whites dichotomized. It means you just stay, you just put up with it. No, no, I don't think so. I'm not saying that. Out of the greatest love you might have, the right action may ultimately be to step back from a situation that is, particularly in things like addiction. There may not be more you can offer than to say, with love, I wish for your well being, your happiness, your ease, so that this is not consuming you. But I can't be near it, not because I love you less. It wouldn't be right, it'd be completely wrong. And I have to stay over here so we both don't drown in it. And that might be the best it is. And I don't have to guess, and you don't either. We take one step, one breath, interactively, interbeing. We know I am as responsible for this as the other in my reaction to it, which is why I cannot claim the garage is my husband's problem at all. It doesn't mean the garage isn't as full as it is either. Remember, we don't deny a relative truth on the way. We don't get to pick sides, ultimate or relative. We integrate them. This will not be a problem. It was the joke I came up with when my closets are empty. It will not be. Why? I'll have a place to put what I need to put somewhere. instead of arguing about where's the thing and why can't I find it and I can't believe you. And then I'll have to work on my own sense of embarrassment, or that's mine. That's never been his. And what does that mean? And who does it define? Well, not me, but not him either. Not him either. And it doesn't mean it isn't there. But, right, I don't want to minimize. Could you imagine minimizing someone to their garage? A lot of us would be in trouble if we went, you are your garage, or you are your closet, or you are your, right? A lot of us would be in trouble. And by the way, even if your garage was immaculate, as was my brother's, you'd still have a problem, because that immaculate garage was also a problem. I don't mean for me. I mean, he did nothing but keep, which was also limiting, right? Can we see? It's not so simple then, right? Okay. My fears are so very, and very often fear of loss. Isn't it true? Isn't it true that loss, this idea of losing, not being in connection, not having somehow that we go into nihilism, then we fall out of the idea of interconnection. The other side fear is the fear that there is no thing, that there is nothing. And this is just as contorted as the idea that the opposite, we have to be careful, because nihilism is an easy, and it's a part of our humanness, right? It's in the brain stem. It looks like something is lost when it's not here, doesn't it? This is by appearance. My father, my brother, or these people I've loved in some way are not as available to me now by appearance. By appearance. If I said out loud that they're not here so I can't feel their love, they would both be mad at me. They'd be going, really? Seriously? Just because we were breathing? You thought that's what it was? And now that we're not breathing, or at least by appearance, you think that's not there? And I can hear their laughter in that. And I use that. But yes, it is a part of our human brain stem to want to clan and to want to hold, and right. And I'm not calling that wrong or bad in any way. I just think we all are working to see beyond it. Otherwise, there's a lot of suffering. And then who we hold and how we hold them, and who deserves holding and who doesn't, and look at all the shenanigans we play, all the stories we make about it. And yes, it is a truth. There is fear in this life. There is the reality of contractedness, and there is the reality of opening to it, which I love. And then you name it, fear of loss. And then we can all hold that together, too, as a human experience. Not a problem. We just don't want to buy into it. Right? Just like the garage. The garage is not a problem till I decided that it needed to be different or other, or to fit my ideas about it. What else are we noticing? Remembering that without Al's garage full of tools, the expanded deck would not be possible. This is 100% correct. And larger, Kelly, so true, larger, this is a very loving man who has done a lot for a lot of people with all those tools in that garage, is exactly correct. And then look at what we can diminish. Look at how easy it is to diminish it. Because most of these cars wouldn't be running in our house, because we don't think we should take them ever anywhere. right? Most of the things that are here would not be here. And that goes beyond to other people and other is exactly right. And there is actually love there in the garage. All those things are not just being kept for him. They're being kept so that he can help others is also true. And now where's my problem? If I saw each of those items as a token of love, where would the problem be? I'd be making more space for them. Right. This is just an example. Thank you, Kelly, for that. That is also true. And then can we see the goodness? I'll use the Buddha nature. We'll stay with that because sometimes love can have connotations. In every difficulty, could we see it? Just like we used with Al here? Could you see the coworker, the family member, and their Buddha nature? And not limit them then by the circumstance or by the habit. It doesn't mean we don't attend to it again. It means we see more clearly the path by holding it in a larger container, ultimate and relative truth, and then say the teachings, and this is something I look for, then we see that there was no such thing as two truths at all. That they do not, in fact, exist separately at all. There's not this and that. And then we go back to our koan, not one, not two. We talk about them so we understand them in these right circumscribed, collected, gathered ways to say, can you see this? And then can you see this? And yet they are interconnected wholly, not separate at all. It simply is that we, in our contraction, said Courtney, in our own fear, cannot see the whole truth. Right? That's what you said. And now in recognition, you will not be able to unsee it. How lovely is that? You can't go back once you see something to not seeing it, right? There's no such thing as, now is there still falling into the default mode network of my fear? Endless possibilities for that. Endless possibilities. I could walk right out of this room, right to my husband and go, I can't believe it, you left out the propane. You left out the propane tanks. You couldn't even fit them in there, could you? I can't believe. Is it possible? It is possible. And yet, not quite is also true. It has been forever altered. Also, it is not the same habit exactly. Because look what I'm holding. This insight, this awareness, this love, this remembering. It could never, right? It says in the bodhicitta heart, you can't go backwards. Ever. That it's not possible. It can only flourish and never diminish. One insight, even though I can't quite live it yet, I can't quite, right? I can remember, I can call it back, I can, and I've got Libby here, I'm going to ask her to hold me a little accountable. Can you watch? It won't quite be the same. And this is love. And my commitment to it is love. My desire for the freedom from suffering for us both and my husband, who doesn't have to listen to his wife fetch about this for another 50 years. This is love. I don't want that for him either. Right? Once I have the insight, yet fall in the hole, I can laugh. Yes, I think laughter in this regard is helpful. Why? It's an opening, Lynn. You're opening. You're not you cannot laugh in contraction. It just hurts. The very laughter is a kind of expanding, right? Like, wow, amazing. I just had this Dharma talk, and then I went and said the propane tanks. I can't believe you could only laugh. It would be a beautiful offering to both you and the other. And then it'd even be better to say, I recognize my insanity, just so you know. It's not you I'm laughing at. It's my own insanity, my own confusion, my own delusion. And I think laughter is a beautiful thing because condemning it's not helpful. It will not benefit us to go, see, you did it wrong again. You just messed it up again. You just talked about the garage again. Yep, right. Will not serve. Contraction leads to contraction, and laughter is an opening. So if we could all smile and laugh, and we're going to have plenty of opportunity here with the holiday season coming. Why? Because we want people to be as we want them to be. We want them to be where we want them to be at the time we want them to be. We want them to show up a certain way. We want them to bring the sweet potatoes that we like. We want them to, right? And so we're infinite opportunities for laughter. Because I thought you should have cooked those a little more. Ha, ha, ha.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. I'm not exactly sure how to phrase this, but I have a hard time because I want to see the best in everyone. So then I override, I don't even know, like I allow them to have so much strength that,
Power
yeah, power that
over
it
you.
diminishes me.
How does
But
it do that, Robin?
because I allow it.
So you're allowing things that aren't okay for you to happen
And I make up an
because
excuse
you want
then,
to. Mm-hmm.
right? Because I want to find that goodness in them.
Yeah.
But
What if it's actually there? Let me start there.
well,
What
there
if their
is,
goodness is actually there?
I mean, I would suspect there is goodness there.
It is there. So now what? So their goodness is there. The Buddha nature is there. And maybe something they're doing in the moment, just like Courtney said, is from that contractedness or that fear, right? We would say all unskillfulness, right? Couldn't you? All mine include, right? We're talking about everybody's. Unskillfulness is a contraction. So you are not seeing who they really are. You can remember who they really are. But in our relative world, we would still say you don't get to hit the kid, wouldn't you?
Right, right.
You wouldn't go,
That's what I,
well, if all of us are truly Buddhas, this is why relative and ultimate are not separate. And it is true. And this is not your Buddha nature. This is a moment of contractedness that I can lovingly support. Not the
or what,
not the contraction, your Buddha nature. I can lovingly support that. I can potentially redirect that. I gave you all an example once of a woman who punched her kid in front of me at the Del Mar Fair. Literally pulled back and hauled off and punched the kid right in the mouth. Now, I'm a mandated reporter, by the way. Mandated reporter. So, according to the law, the first thing I should have done was dial 911. And what I did instead would say, hey, it looks like you got your hands full. How about if I buy you a drink? You sit over here. The little boy needed to go to the bathroom. We were by the bathroom. I'll take him, right? And you take a break over here. And I came out, not sure what to do, by the way, and she was crying. She was crying. And she said, I can't, she had a baby with her. I can't navigate. I don't know how to navigate this kid who looks like he probably had a little ADD, by the way. He certainly did that day, and this baby. And so I don't know what to do. And I said, well, that you tried for the fair that's a big Take on, and maybe you, right? And is there somebody we can call who can just take him for a little bit, right? So that you can either do the fair or go home and take a nap or do whatever you need to do.
Oh. But sometimes when the abuse is towards you, you just have to walk away and see the reality of it.
Might be first, the best thing to do is stop the harm. And to stop the harm, especially if it's verbal or physical, the very best thing you might do is say, let's talk later and get out of there. Right? But you would not deny a reality either and go, I'm going to pretend like you're okay, even though you're drunk and now getting abusive. And I'm just using examples. I'm not saying this is
Right. I
Robin.
know. Right.
Right? That would
But
be not
still,
loving. That would be fear manifest tenfold, which is now I'm stuck. I have trapped me by my own wish that you be
okay.
different.
That's a good example. I can grasp that around in my
Now I've trapped
brain.
me and caused harm by staying in a situation that was potentially not within the other's capacity at the moment. Remember, Buddha nature not diminished, and yet, what can we do? Well, yes, lovingly, without hostility, aggression, and harm, say this isn't a good idea right now. What can we do? And then we might remove ourselves for a moment, or someone, or if it's a kid or an animal, you do different, right? We do different things. But the without aggression is not an idea, it's a requirement. See, the contraction blinds you, remember. You cannot see clear action from a contraction. So you might get out of there just so as not to be in a contraction to then decide what you do. That might be required. And it's okay that you're even in a contracted state in wishing. Wishing is a contracted state, by the way. This is not an open state. That's an imposing a dream right on top of an already difficult situation. Don't do that. And you get to say, I can't do this. I don't have whatever it takes. That's skillful. How beautiful is that? And I
I
don't
wanted
want to speak from it. Yes, Renee?
I wanted to say that for me, that's choosing to pause,
That's right.
to step back and go, okay,
That's right.
I need some balance here to take wise action or not.
That's right.
And I need to step back because I don't feel capable at this moment with my current perception,
That's
my
right.
current
That's right.
way of looking at this. And then the other thing was, I wrote down that you were saying that we choose love, but we have to also remember so that we don't become codependent, is
That's
to
right.
have compassion for ourselves,
That's right.
to
That is
keep the,
love. That's what love
yes.
is. It's compassion for all.
But we have to remember to include ourselves.
Yes, we do. It's a
We
practice
should
as
not
well.
create imbalance for ourselves either.
That's exactly correct, which is why in the Sutrayana school, it says begin with you. Begin with you. Because if you're not stable, what stability can you offer? Well, the answer is none. If you're twizzled, everything's twizzled, and all the right ideas go wrong. Doesn't mean they weren't good ideas. It means I can't manifest that, Robin, right? If I'm already in distress, what possibility is there? Very little. Take good care of yourself. And we call those boundaries. I don't know why. Really, it's not the best word. It's taking good care of everyone. It's not a me or you situation at all. It's a me and you. For us both, I think I'm going to take a walk. For us both, I'm going to take a pause. For us both, right? That is love. That is love. Love is not a one-way street. It doesn't just go out. It is out, in, and all around. Our ideas about love tend to be directional. Are you loving me? Right, is often our very favorite. Are you loving me? Well, Okay, we get the idea. I knew this would be a big topic. I knew there would, remember, we're just going to keep talking about how we separate the truths and then operate from half in a way that can often get us in trouble. Either half. In the ultimate, I could choose nothing, unskillfully, saying all beings are Buddha, all love is all arising. It's all true in the ultimate, and it doesn't mean you don't feed the hungry. It doesn't mean you don't put out the fire. It doesn't mean you don't say no. We can't do this, right? And we mistake these things as one or the other. And in all great love, there is also limit, so as not to cause harm, right? All of us. We don't say everything we think. It's skillful. We don't let anyone do whatever they want because in their deluded moment mind, remember, not that they are less Buddha, and you can't do that. You can't take the baby and hang him over the banister. You can't. Doesn't mean you're not a good singer. And no, that's not okay. Right? And see, can we hold it all? And the answer is we can, and we are capable of it. And I believe the skillfulness of the heart mind together and this very skillful body, that in its contracted state, if we could know that, the pause would be the best possibility first, and then compassion for oneself, which is what our training is. That's why we train just in that. Stopping, wait a minute, can I feel for myself in this moment of difficulty? And the answer is we can. And it is a beautiful beginning. It is. All right, let's do our prayer. Inviting the bodhicitta heart, the heart that can hold all love for all beings, skillfully, wisely, with benefit to all. May I be a guard for those in need of protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge, for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May we all have happiness, true abiding happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be joyful and grateful at my good fortune and be happy and wish the good fortune for all beings. May I rest and dwell in this vast, wide open, infinite heart, without aggression, without greed, without addiction, without delusion, seeing clearly just this moment, just this breath, and opening completely until all beings are awakened and free. And may this holiday of giving and generosity support us and others so that we can continue to be of benefit and to be skillful. May you all have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. So be it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful
That was
practice.
perfect.
Thank you. Yes, for us all. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Everyone have a joyful time in rest or in connection, whatever is most needed. May you create that for yourselves and know that we are here also, always holding you, always let us know if there's something we can do to make something a little better for someone. Take good care, everyone. We'll see you on Saturday in the garden. We will be here for those who are in town. Take care.